Hi, I'm Deb Muller, and I'm the CEO of HR Quid, and I've been working in HR for over 20 years. In my experience, I deal with all sorts of manager and employee misconduct, like sexual harassment, discrimination. I've pretty much seen it all. So today we're going to look at some clips from film and TV, where we're going to see some employees doing some things that perhaps aren't so appropriate for the workplace. I'm going to tell you how things really should have happened. Legally Blonde, sexual harassment. In this scene of Legally Blonde, Professor Callahan suggests that Elle could be his associate this summer, and then he puts his hand on her knee.
How far will Elle go?
Are you hitting on me?
Elle is not alone in her decision to quit.
I'm quitting.
Why?
Versus telling someone, and in this case, this would be classic quid pro quo, sexual harassment. That's essentially saying if you don't give in to your employer's demand or your supervisor's demand, that you're going to actually forgo some economic benefit. Maybe you'd lose your job or you wouldn't get a promotion because you didn't give in to the sexual request.
I'm a law student who just realized her professor is a pathetic asshole.
Too bad. I thought you were a law student who wanted to be a lawyer.
The EEOC reports that 25 to 85% of women are sexually harassed in the workplace. Sort of a wide range there, but even on the conservative end, it's pretty alarming.
What?
And one of the reasons why that's such a wide range is because we know that about 75% of these issues go unreported.
I'm not allowing it.
Oh, but you agreed last night in your office when we were discussing my career.
Horrible Bosses, sexual harassment. In this scene in Horrible Bosses, Dale's boss sprays water on him during a dental procedure.
This thing's working. Oh!
Oh my God!
Oh! I'm sorry. I'm a squirter, Dale.
Even though he repeatedly tells her to stop.
Can we stop doing this thing here?
So this is hostile work environment. That's when the behaviors are so severe or pervasive that they start to impact the person's ability to do their job or their psychological well-being. Severe because of what you just saw her doing to him.
Stop it.
Oh, Shabbat Shalom. Somebody's circumcised.
Okay.
And pervasive because I gotta believe that this isn't the first time that she's done something like this.
Julia, I'm not gonna sleep with you.
We'll see about that.
Under current federal law, sexual harassment protection is only provided to organizations with 15 or more employees. So unless there are some state or local laws that can protect Dale, he might just want to start looking for a new job.
Could you do the,
Ugly Betty terminations. In this scene in Ugly Betty, Wilhelmina sees an employee wearing shoes that she just doesn't like.
Are we in ancient Rome? Will you be, wrestling a lion? Take those off.
So she confiscates them,
Burn these.
and then she fires her.
You are fired.
In the United States, an employee without an employment contract, which is most of us, can be fired at will under the employee at will doctrine. Of course, there are exceptions. If an employee can show they were terminated based upon a protected class, such as something covered under Title VII, race, age, gender, then they probably have a case against their employer. So in this case, just because you don't like somebody's shoes, you can actually fire them, but certainly something we wouldn't recommend as a great business practice. What you should do if someone's not following the dress code is to sit them down, go through the policy, maybe give them a written warning, or even start with a verbal warning, and then you can escalate to termination if they're really not adhering to the company policy. So while this wasn't the ideal firing, at least it was face-to-face. In this next clip from Up in the Air, we see where they use video chat to fire their employees.
It's perfectly normal to be upset. However, the sooner you can tell yourself that greater opportunities are waiting for you.
Opportunities. I'm 57 fucking years old.
Natalie's firing an employee via video chat using the script that her company has provided to her.
Anybody who ever built an empire or changed the world sat where you are now.
Never, never, never terminate someone like this. This is just horrible. I mean, imagine if you were in their shoes. Now, typically, when you terminate someone, first of all, it's never fun, it's never easy to do. But you need to go in and do it face-to-face. Don't beat around the bush.
The sooner you trust the process, the sooner the next step of your life will unveil itself.
Get right to it, discuss what's happening and what the outcome's going to be. There's a reduction in force, and your job has been eliminated. Get to the point, and then talk about what you have in place to help the employee with their transition.
There's a packet in front of you. I want you to take some time and review it.
It's also a best practice to have someone from a career placement center available for the employee right away. That way they can start talking about their transition. Mad Men, violence. In an episode of Mad Men, Joan gets upset with her assistant.
I don't remember everything everybody says. Because you're an idiot.
And throws a model airplane at her.
He said it was a surprise. A surprise? Well, thank you for that. Here's a surprise.
The real issue here is the violence. I mean, there aren't any laws that protect people from incivility just being bad people, but when you start throwing things around, that's when it gets hairy.
Surprise! There's an airplane here to see you! You're not allowed to do that!
In this case, the assistant could say that there was an assault and file charges, but it's more likely that a complaint would be made against Joan for violating the Code of Conduct policy. In the 60s, it's probably unlikely that they even had such a thing.
What?
But nowadays, there would be a policy. A complaint could be made, and Joan could be disciplined for violating the policy.
Oh, Don.
Let's go.
Philadelphia, wrongful termination. In this scene from Philadelphia, Andy's being told that he's let go.
We feel it isn't fair to keep you here when your prospects are limited.
He later tells a lawyer it was wrongful termination for being ill.
And they don't want to fire you for having AIDS, so in spite of your brilliance, they'd make you look incompetent, thus the mysterious lost file. Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Correct. I was sabotaged.
So the question is, can you be terminated for being ill? And the answer is no, you can't be terminated for being sick or being on a medical leave or any other type of disability.
I love the law.
However, an employer can possibly terminate you while you're sick or on medical leave, but only if it's for another lawful reason. So for example, maybe there's a reduction in force and your entire department is let go.
Very good.
The Office. Diversity training. In this clip of The Office, Michael Scott leads diversity training and encourages his employees to make discriminatory remarks.
Let's do it. Let's get ugly.
Based on stereotypes that are totally untrue, that I do not agree with, you would maybe not be a very good driver.
Oh man, am I a woman?
This scene makes me laugh every time I see it. I can't help it. So what went wrong here? So number one, who should be leading the diversity training? Certainly not Michael Scott.
I have a dream that you will really let the sparks fly.
If you're going to be doing diversity training, you should have a trained internal facilitator or maybe even an external facilitator who knows how to do diversity and inclusion instruction. To be effective, these sessions need to be interactive, just not Michael Scott's way of being interactive.
I'm Prison Mike. I am here to scare you straight!
They have to let employees learn how to communicate with one another.
Cell phones and pagers off, please.
Oh, this looks promising.
You won't be disappointed.
Office Christmas party, the holiday party. In this scene from Office Christmas Party, the HR rep tries to keep the DJ in check,
Take your pee-pees out and put them in some booties.
correcting him when he tells people to participate in illicit activity.
And remember that tonight, the decisions you make will have consequences that will haunt you for the rest of your professional lives.
So clearly, this is not the recommended approach about how to tell people what is and isn't okay.
If you're going to have intercourse, please go beyond the flood lamps at the perimeter of the plaza.
Going outside the company property to hook up doesn't make the company not liable for the activity. You can still receive sexual harassment claims even if the activity takes place off of office property.
Even though it's dark outside, the rules don't turn off.
The rules may not turn off, but your inhibitions can.
And there's other things to be considered with an office Christmas party. Drinking and driving is one. Make sure people have safe ways to get home.
Yeah, Mary, way to psych everybody up.
I understand that all these clips are fun and entertaining, but they can also be used as great jumping off points to start having discussions with each other about how you deal with a situation if it came up in your workplace or with your employees at work.